catch on other wide bodies that have the past 15 minutes departed. But it is what it is. We had some internet problems, so we couldn't get started. Here. For the moment there is only one movement. Not many left anymore. I think a couple. This car scene is already for a very long time. Alright, for some delays, flight is too easy. Flight number 3367 for Toulouse, France. So it's taxiing. Let's see. Since the 60s, and one of the characters is painted on it. The main character, Garfield himself, or Tintin in French, painted by a Belgian cartoonist. And still going strong on this airplane, as you can see. So it stabilizes a little bit. Making a left-hand turn to access runway 25 right of Brussels airport. Today it's rather cloudy, but it's dry, at least that is good news. The wind has eased off compared with yesterday. Yesterday we had really some very strong gusts. Today they're in between reasonable. And there he goes. My biggest zoom is 600 millimeters, so currently this is 600 millimeters. Can be fun, but on hot days, mostly the heat waves are very, very disturbing. All right. Sorry for the wrong horizon, but sometimes. Well, this is another Belgian icon, the Red Devils and Red Flames. So tonight the Red Devils play again against Wales for the World Championship next year, held in Canada, the States and Mexico. For the football lovers, their first game was 1-1 against North Macedonia. That was last Friday. And tonight they play at home. Hope they will win, otherwise they are already in big trouble. I actually can tell you that indeed when the teams, both female or the man, has to play outside Belgium, they use this airplane. So, a very nice gesture of Brussels Airlines, in fact. And there he goes. A lot of smaller aircraft are now taxiing. For instance, this one. It's a third Belgian icon. Sorry for the erratically movement of my camera. So this is the newest or the latest addition, the Atomium. There was a contest held for this airplane, and out of hundreds of designs, this was chosen to fly around for the next, I think, 5 years or so. The plane itself, it's a rather old Airbus 320, not a new engine option. But for the spotters it doesn't matter, as long as it's painted in a special color scheme, it's okay. Apparently we'll come to this taxiway. Sorry for the erratic movement. I have sometimes to watch out if something is behind my back of an aircraft or whatever. So this one will go via taxiway Whiskey, which in fact is rather close to my location. So that's a nice gesture of this aircraft. I don't know if the pilot asked for. Perhaps it's a very long flight or a very heavy one. Behind we have a Greece company, Sky Express, I think. Okay. I will show it immediately when it's behind this fence. Only the fence is gone. I mean, also the mountain is obscuring currently the view a little bit. It's in fact a waste ground. And here we have the famous Atomium. Passing rather closely. As you can see, it's a very nice design. My camera is of course on a tripod. It would be impossible to shoot some stable images without it. On the other hand, everything I show on my YouTube channel has been edited with some photos from the software I use, from Adobe, so I can stabilize the images more, especially on takeoffs or landings. And especially when it's windy conditions, it's impossible to have a stable image. Meanwhile, two other aircraft are lining up for departure. One is an Airbus of Brussels Airlines in the new colors, and another is Turkish Airlines. We'll show it right away after this one is left. So the Brussels Airlines is ready to take off. It's a small one, I think, an Airbus 319. Making some noise. And there it goes. Here a big Turkish Airlines, an upgrade on the Istanbul service. Lately we see quite often these kind of bigger birds with a mixture of 200s and 300s of this Airbus 330. A 777 would also be nice, I guess, or a 787 or an Airbus 350. We saw them all in the past years, but this year it's only limited to Airbus 330. goes. Heading for Turkey. Next one is a Nouvelle Air of Tunisia. Seems also a new engine option. Hearing it on the sound and the big engine. Makes indeed much less noise than on a classic Airbus 320, and of course it's more fuel, less fuel consuming. A good plane we are going to see for the next 100 years or so. He takes his time. Next to it is another aircraft. It's also a new engine option of A again. That was the company I was looking for from Greece, not Sky Express. And there he goes. As you can hear, it's quite silent. So right now we're heading for this one. On the move over there is a big Airbus of Brussels Airlines. In the back we have of course the military side of this airport. It's called Brussels Military Airport, or nicknamed Melsbroek Airbase. Not much activity because it's on holiday today, so there will be no, in my point of view, no military movements. No military movements today. So here we have the big Airbus of Brussels Airlines. What? Oops. Questions, landings of enkele departures. There's a live new fare. There are not much landings you can say, or you can type. Oh yeah, I can say it of course. Currently I'm on the northern side of the tower, so I can't see the landings because there is too much wind on the other side. Otherwise I would be in front of the tower and I can take both of them. And thank you very much for your feedback. Sometimes I do live streams, but not often. Usually I do it when I'm on duty and if I have time and if the weather permits. So it's not always the case, but I try to do my best. There he goes, on taxi, heading for taxiway whiskey 4. Behind Pier A. This is the balcony where I'm standing. Normally I put my camera a little bit more in front, but it's as simple as too much wind. So no, I will only take taxiing shots and departures today. If there is a cargo arriving, I will try to catch that too. But everything on 25 left, runway 25 left, is out of my sight due to the wind. So I try to follow this one a little bit closer. The registration is SFX, I think. Yep. I'll try to hold this position a little bit. SFX. I prepared myself a little bit. Is heading for Cotonou in Africa. Just fly to Africa, and the flight number is through 329er. Departure was foreseen at 11:30. Just waiting. Currently, I don't see anything going in. On runway 25 right. I think there are still 4 big Airbuses of Brussels Airlines left for a departure today. Currently they have a fleet of 11 aircraft. The latest one with tail number Sierra Foxtrot Quebec is operational since this week, or last week I must say. And that one departs to Dakar at 12:30 PM. Oh yes, there's a very small aircraft coming in, I see. It's a Cessna. Very small, I must say. It's just out of the image here. That's why he was waiting. It's so small, it's hardly visible in a milky white sky. Well, which spots? Well, as I said before, I'm actually on the ATC tower of Brussels Airport, on the balcony outside, on the 5th floor, where the meteorological office, the observators, are working. Those are in fact my colleagues, and I must say one of the colleagues is so kind enough to follow my stream and adjust the technical issues, like checking out your comments, checking out if everything is working properly. So without his help I wouldn't do it. So a big thank you to Jonathan. And my name is Stef, alias SkyStef. I work for over 30 years for skeyes. My job is being meteorologist too, so the weather is always my playground. If it's bad weather, I'm not going to stream, of course. If the weather permits, I can give it a shot like me, like now. heading for Cotonou. One of many flights to Africa of Brussels Airlines. They try to make it a little bit a little hub of it. Attract as many people from outside Belgium, Europe, America, Asia, etc. With their currently 11 strong Airbus 330 fleet, of which 2 are used for flights to the States, 1 to JFK and 1 to Washington, but all the rest, all other 9 flights in fact are to Africa. Here we have also a very nice airline which comes for years to Brussels Airport. The color scheme, I must say, is one of the more attractive ones. That is for sure. It's an Airbus 320, 321 with a new engine option. Middle East Airlines of Lebanon. They have quite some flights per week at Brussels Airport. And that is since very long, I must say, that they do this. There was an absence of a few years, but I think they are here since the 60s, the late 60s. They used to come with Convair 990. You could witness them on the terrace at the old aircraft, old terminal. But I wasn't. I was too small. I was a kid that just was born, in fact, around that time. So I haven't had the pleasure to go there. So currently at Brussels Airport we have some spots for the spotters. On the internet you can find easily where to find exactly. Depending on the wind, you have to go to 2 spots just next to runway 25 left, one at the touchdown zone and one more or less in the middle. Spot for the 25 right, I must say, there is not a decent spot available. There is a spot you can go, for instance, on the car parking. You can stand there and then watch when they do take off, but it's not an officially one. Of course, that is a minus point for this airport, as most departures are indeed on runway 25 right. There he goes. What we have here is an Airbus 319 of Finnair. I must say today they have a very small aircraft. Usually on Mondays we see their Airbus 350 on Mondays and Thursdays, and of course it's not for the big amount of passengers but for the amount of cargo. Let's see what is going there on. It's an incoming aircraft. It seems Transavia. An Airbus 320. I think they have 3 based at Brussels Airport for their holiday destinations. They are not Dutch airplanes, but they have been painted in the colors of Transavia, that's for sure. Voilà. And there she touches down immediately. Okay. step a little bit aside. With the movements I can't avoid. It would be much easier to sit on a chair, I must say, but the fence on this balcony is just too high, so if I sit down, I just can't see anything anymore, unless the fence. I try to put my image as stable as possible. It's not always easy, of course. So one of, I guess, 2 flights per day to Finland. The morning flight and an evening flight, I think. Also a very long customer at Brussels airport. I think from 69 or something, or early 70s. Long time ago they used to come with caravelles, but of course that era is long ended. Then it was the DC-9, then the ND-80, and since the last decades it's an Airbus, always an Airbus we see that. We used to have also some 340s of them, and they have that aircraft in their fleet, and one or several of these ended up with Air Belgium. But Air Belgium currently only flies cargo. Currently with 2 aircraft, 2 jumbos. The Airbuses are currently in Ostend, long-term storage, and the other one is in Woensdrecht for maintenance. If I heard well, the Airbuses are owned by the French company that took over not took over, but they put some money in it to continue operations. But currently there is no job apparently. The Jumbos, they fly every day to China. Chengdu is the destination, and they are owned in fact by China Logistics. So the 4 aircraft are owned by 2 different companies. But I'm lucky, or we are lucky, that Air Belgium is still alive. Okay, the passenger division has been called bankrupt end of April. Sad, of course, for the people that bought a ticket. They won't see their money again. It's as simple as that. Well, ITA Airways is going back to Italy. Alright, what we have here, a typical Portugal aircraft, and I think it's also a new engine option. For the soccer lovers, Portugal yesterday won apparently the Nations League against Spain with penalties, so they are in a victory modus, I guess. Yeah, there's some questions here. Is this a public spot? Well, the answer is no. But there is a possibility on the open day of the open doors held on 5 October 2025 to visit the entire site of SkyStef. So you have to fill in a paper or via the internet, and it is normally 1 September. You can fill in the paper to get the tickets. You have to be very fast, because usually they are sold out within hours or 1 day. So 1 September, open doors 25, open doors, skeyes. You have to type in this in Google and then you will find it. Open Bedrijvendag it's called. For the flight plans of the military aircraft, well, I don't have more information than you. You can find some of them on the internet, like flight radar, and then you type in Brussels airport, and then you have a list of aircraft that are coming in or leaving. So no, I have no extra information about military aircraft. Myself, I have, if a very interesting aircraft is arriving, even ask it to the tower itself by phone call when I'm on duty to ask when is this aircraft going to leave or whatever. And sometimes it's even delayed so long or so much it departs half a day later, so it's quite stupid sometimes if you wait for an aircraft. So no, you have to follow it via the usual way, flight radar, Brussels airport. Another very fine site to check things is aviation.24.be, so it's formerly the Luchtzak. There you have a section plane spotting, and there, not every day, but usually there is something announced about biz jets. Sometimes they're military, but as I said before, the information is not always accessible. And then the other question about Globemaster. Well, for the moment I have no information about this aircraft. It's as simple as that. Last time I think it was also put on the flight radar as an arrival, so it's some luck. If you check the departures and it's on, then it's going to leave, and it's not on, supposedly it won't depart today. So I have no information about this. It's today also a Sunday. That is usually not the day military activity is deployed much, so probably it will depart not today, perhaps tomorrow. Check out flight radar and then in combination with Brussels airport, and then you have a list. Voila, this is one of the China aircraft, Boeing 787-900, heading for I guess Shanghai, if I was correct. The other aircraft of Junayo is still there, but they do depart more or less at the same moment. So Hainan is the first one to leave. I think the 777 of United is also on a move. This is the one. It's heading for Washington. One of the largest aircrafts that come to Brussels is the 777. We have of course Emirates 2 days a day, 2 times a day, sorry. Currently we have also Air Canada, but usually they fly with an Airbus, but since a few days it's upgraded to a 77. And then this, of course, this one is also daily stuff for Brussels Airport. They have 3 flights a day to different destinations like New York, Chicago and Washington. And probably a 4th will arrive in summer, a 2nd flight to New York. Let's zoom out a bit. Okay, I have to check my papers here. So indeed, we have a small aircraft and a big aircraft. I think it's a Belgian registered Cessna, but I'm not sure. I can't see it exactly. Very fine. I have to make a picture, but I'm not sure. From this point of view, I can't see, but perhaps you can see, and then you can follow it on the applications, which I have currently not in my site. I am outside, as told before. I just manage my camera. Which is my camera? That was another question of you folks. Well, it's an Sony camera. It makes both pictures and filming. So it's an RX10, and then we have Mark IV. So Sony RX10 Mark IV. That is my gear currently used. Am I satisfied? Yes, I am quite satisfied. It is, let us say, not 100% in every, while a helicopter is coming over. Okay. In 600mm stand, I have always a sort of vignetting thing, but there's nothing you can do about it. Of course, we have a range, or this camera has a range of 50mm up to 600mm, so I can't complain. I can do everything what I want with this camera. The images are very sharp, I must say. If I take a picture or I do film in 4K with 30 frames per second, because you can change it. You can use 25 frames per second. That is for the European standard, but you can do it also the 30 frames per second for the American standard. And 30 frames per second means that the images are there are slightly more images in that 1 second, of course. And for me, it's better to show it via my social media like Instagram. I guess there are some problems when you do it with 25 frames per second, and it's rather shaky. And with 30 seconds, it works quite good. So therefore, I changed my settings to 30 frames per second. The rest I do only manually. So the aperture, the speed, the ISO, I do it always manually. I set it never on automatic, because then you have sometimes very disappointing results when the sun or the clouds are mixing together, and then you have too bright or too dark or whatever. So I try to do it all manually. That is of course a lot of work. You must say like it is. have to be constant monitoring that everything is okay. Voilà, there he goes. There's nothing else. Okay. I think another beeline is and there is also an aircraft. Let's see what it is. Yeah, pointing to the nose. It's impossible to say what it is. Here we have Brussels Airlines in the new colors. We will see what it brings. All aircraft pass via the inner or outer taxiways to the threshold of 25 right. Well, special flights today. I've checked the list and I must say it is rather disappointing. Nothing special. Of course it's a Sunday, so no military flights. These jets are also very scarce. I've checked the cargo, there's nothing special on that. Sometimes you have lucky, like last week there was a NATO top with the defense ministers. It was of course very special. All aircraft arrived on Wednesday. I was by coincidence on duty, so I could capture the Boeing the Boeing Globemaster. The Antonov 26, of course, that is another problem. It's simply invisible, so I don't have the information. It passes by, and that's it. The best time to spot in Brussels. Okay. Well, it depends a little bit, I must say. Let us say that we have two waves. You have a morning wave of arrivals, but that is quite early sometimes, especially when you have to, if you like wide body aircraft, then you have to be quite early. That means you have to be at the airport at around 7 a.m. There are a dozen wide bodies coming in of different companies. And then you have the smaller companies that come in. So there is a morning wave, let us say between 7 and 10 local time in the morning. And then the arrivals start to slow down a bit, but then the departure peak starts, let us say from 10:30 local time onwards. We have a lot of departures, including the European ones or the wide bodies. So the best, let us say the morning is a good opportunity for both incoming aircraft and departing aircraft. Let us say starting from 1 p.m. in the afternoon, things slow down, you must say like it is, till let us say late afternoon, before let us say 5-6 local time, you can easily go on a siesta, let us say. That is you wouldn't mostly of the time you wouldn't miss a lot. But as I told before, you have to check out flight radar, Brussels airport in combination. You check out the arrivals, you check out the departures. Sometimes the special things are listed, including the military ones. And yeah, sometimes I go to the airport for exactly one aircraft. It is as simple as that. Even Antonov is coming in. I will show up for the Antonov. Even Hercules, a Lockheed C-130 is coming in. That is quite rare, especially with the old engines. Well, why not? So there are calm moments, and the calm moments are between just afternoon till late afternoon. That is the most calm moment of the day. So the morning, I think the morning rush is the most interesting. If you come as early as possible. And then of course, the wind is very interesting to know. If it's northeasterly wind, then all arrivals come in on runway 01 normally. And there is a special spot there is a special spot for the spotters on that location, on the threshold of 01. You have to go to, I think it's called Zaventem, Zeventommen or something. Enfin, there is a small place, it's a children's garden, and you can, most of the YouTube arrivals, early morning arrivals are shot from there. So there you have a very nice view on all arrivals and also the departures at that moment. But of course the wind has to be northeast. This week there is a possibility that the wind will go northeast. Let us say Wednesday or Thursday there is a risk. Otherwise it's the usual configuration, and then you have to go to the 25 left spot near the how do you call it, Asylum of Steenokkerzeel. There's a spot specially dedicated for the spotters too. It's in Iberia. Now let's see what is. This is an Air Arabia, and then we have here, it comes in, Brussels Airlines. It's also heading for Africa, of course. With some luck, sometimes they do wave. Mostly they don't see standing me, I must say, especially when it's quite windy. I'm just very close to the window. So this is tail number Sierra Foxtrot Juliette. Voilà. Then we have also 4 times a week Singapore Airlines, and usually it comes also on this taxiway, but now it takes apparently the shorter one. So it's passing by the sign of Brussels Airport, the Pier A. This is an Airbus 350 version 900. It's a straight flight to Singapore, and they come 4 times a week to Brussels Airport since early this year. Nice addition. I must say, Asian companies, they did find Brussels back after the COVID pandemic. Just Cathay Pacific is missing, but they will start on 1 August 2 with 4 flights a week with the same aircraft as you see here, an Airbus 350. Apparently is coming to this taxiway anyway. Oh yeah, because of the Airbus was in front of them. What is a possibility, of course. So this aircraft will also pass via this close taxiway. Singapore, they came for the first time here in 1979. At that time it was with a DC-10, 1 or 2 times a week, and then they switched to a 747. All versions came here, and then after the SARS epidemic they stopped. So there was a gap of, I think, 20 years or so. And now they're back. Very nice. This one will come in. So flight 369 of this B line is heading for Douala. Douala in Cameroon. The wind is picking up. There's little we can do about it. Meanwhile, I saw that Junio is also on the move, and that is this aircraft, 787-900. As told before, he flies also to Shanghai, like Hainan, half an hour ago or 50 minutes ago. I don't know exactly anymore. So there are 2 flights to Shanghai. Amazing. Why not? It's also a very interesting company, I must say, because every aircraft wears a different livery. In this case, there are some flowers, I guess. Junio. What's in the name? It's Junio. Meanwhile, Singapore is ready for a departure. $600mm to get a good view of its takeoff with the Atomium in the back. Amazing. And then we have an Airbus P-line also ready for departure. And there it goes. There is even some sun. Amazing, I must say. By the way, the people that saw that today the sky is not entirely blue if there are large breaks, but rather milky, well, yes, indeed. As you know all, a few weeks ago there were some big fires in Canada. That smoke gets very high in the atmosphere, and then we have a jet stream, and it's coming straight from that area right now. So the dust of these wood fires is actually overhead Belgium, overhead in fact in entire Europe, I must say, giving a very milky sky currently, but it will disappear the next days when the flow will start to back to the south. So it's not Sahara dust, it's just from the wildfires, wood fires in Canada. Voilà, flight HO 1660, I think. Let's follow this one. Usually they take a very long roll on the for takeoff. Let's see if it's also the case. Yeah. airline is coming in, they always take the taxiway in front of me. In front of the tower, the most close taxiway is taxiway Whiskey 3 and 4. Okay. Okay, another question, which aircraft are landing right now in this period of the time at Brussels airport? Which aircraft? I suppose you mean aircraft types and not companies. Brussels airport has, I think, around 60 or 70 different companies, airlines, passengers, and then we have also some cargo operators. Of course, DHL is the biggest one. But let's say the most obvious for the European flights, mostly we see the Airbus in all kinds of variants, Airbus 320. And we have also the counter partner is Boeing, of course, with its 737. There we see a mixture of Boeing 737-800 and MAX aircraft. Sometimes we see also a 700 or a 900 of KLM of Iceland Air, but yeah, the most aircraft types over here in Brussels are Boeing 737, Airbus 320 for the short range. There are some exceptions. There are even smaller aircraft like the Airbus 220, but it's in fact Canadian. Bombardier. It used to be Bombardier, but it's renamed. Those are very small aircraft are operated on very thin routes. So Airbus 220, the 320, the Boeing 737s, and then on the longer range, what do we see the most is of course the Airbus 330. Brussels Airlines has 11 of them in their fleet. Other companies that come with Airbus 330 are, I think, Rwandair is one of them. Air Canada normally too, but currently they fly with 777s. So the Airbus 330 is also well presented. And then on the Boeing side, we have the Boeing Dreamliners. We have Etihad, we have Qatar, the Dreamliners of TUI. It's only one aircraft, of course, but okay. The Dreamliners of United we have. And then, okay, the biggest aircraft that come here to Brussels are the 777s. I'm talking about passengers. And the Queen of the Skies, the famous 747, is still flying. Lucky, I must say. We have still up right now 4 companies that come regularly with the 747. We have Asiana, we have Singapore Airlines, Air Belgium, and since last week on again Kalita. very calm right now. There is currently no movement, I must say. Okay, I'm going to fix this image to this position. Other aircraft that come to Brussels, very rare of course. We have the Delta Airline 767. Sometimes we see a 757 of Iceland Air, or Boeing of course. Concerning propeller-driven aircraft, we used to have Croatia Airlines with their Dash 8, but currently I think they have switched to also to jet aircraft. On the cargo side, we have a mixture of all kinds of aircraft, usually 777s or Airbus 330, sometimes also 767s, 757s. And on the military side, I must say that is the most interesting about Brussels Airport. Brussels Airport has a military side too, and you never know in advance which interesting aircraft might arrive. So always check in the morning via the social media or the sites. Like I told before, Flight Radar 24 and the Brussels Airport. They're both in, and then you find it. Departures, arrivals. Luchtzak or Aviation 24, that is a Belgian site with a lot of information. Also spotting things to know. People help you there. I used to make part of them, but due to lack of time I've said I have no time anymore, sorry for it. Voila, VIP flights are also sometimes coming in. You have to watch out. Sometimes when you know there is a big top arriving of the ministers of European Commission or NATO top, or just a visit of a foreign big chief, you can see something very nice appearing. And sometimes it's worth to come for exactly one airplane, like 747 of Qatar, of Oman, or even Trump normally will arrive someday. I think next year with his still very old 747, but the Air Force One is still a very nice plane to hear and to see. Why not? Last time with Biden there were more than 1,000 people in the village of Steenokkerzijl to see this bird. Very nice. Voila, we're back. We had a departure of a very small aircraft, BizJet. There is currently one aircraft coming in from Miami. It's a cargo airplane, the 767 of LATAM, who decided to make its hub for Europe at Brussels Airport last winter season. Very nice gesture of them. So we have currently 12 flights per week. That's not bad, of course. So we can see the entire fleet of LATAM, the entire Boeing 767, yeah, indeed. Pier A, as you can see, it's more or less becoming empty. Yeah. So most aircraft departs before 1 p.m. And at 1 p.m. I will also close this live stream. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit. It is not often my idea to do these streams because it's sometimes very tiring, I must say. Especially I have to do a lot of things. But if the feedback is good, I will try to do it again next time, this summertime. I will try to be a little bit earlier my start so I can show you more aircraft, because the bulk of the the bulk, it's a little bit exaggerated, but I wanted to start before 11 today, but we had some technical issues. Therefore my apologies. But okay, I'm not a live streamer à volonté, as I say. My thing is more on the relaxed side. Just film an aircraft, post-process it, and then show it to the public via my Instagram account. You can always follow the latest information on my Instagram account, SkyStef777. It's exactly the same as my YouTube channel. Have a look at my reels. I try to post almost every day something, especially when I'm on duty. You will see some posts arriving of the same day. When I'm at home, often I have not the courage to start on it. I have also another life besides my airport life, so sometimes there is a gap of a few days. But usually when I'm on duty, you can expect something, a nice reel of an aircraft, special aircraft often, or just a good takeoff or a good landing. Voila. It depends a little bit, of course, what is coming in that day. If there's nothing coming in, I'll show you an older reel, or if there's something very interesting, okay, I'll show it. And they are usually launched every evening before 7 p.m. That is more or less my deadline to upload something on my Instagram account. I would say follow my YouTube channel. I try to put every 3 weeks a new video online. It takes an amount of work to complete such a movie. At least 2 weeks, not from 8 to 8, but every day I put a little effort in it. So it's okay. 767 is I think inside. I'm not sure. Yes. It's there, I think. It's coming in straight from Miami, like I told before. That's an 8-hour flight, apparently. A little over 8 hours. So the more subscribers on my YouTube channel, the more possibly yeah, things to adapt or to grow a little bit more in a good way. So you're all invited to spread the word. I'll be several years here still working at the ATC tower, at least till at least the next decade, that was saying, or with some luck, with some good health, or without other problems. I will show you more about the airport life. Brussels airport is my airport. I live very close to the airport, so I saw it landing on the other runway. Alright, so now arrival on 25 right hand of these birds, so I have to, I will show it this way, of course. Alright, here is the LATAM 767, usually they do land on 25 right, but I don't know why I landed on 25 left. It is what it is. Voila. You can follow him quite easily. Taxiing shots are the most easiest ones, of course, to follow. Also in the post-processing thing. But takeoffs or landings, especially with all the buildings over here, I must say it's sometimes very difficult to have a clean image without distortions. Shots in the air are okay, but if there is building passing by or a light mast or other aircraft, you have sometimes disturbed things in that image that are hardly repairable. So if you try to shoot some filming stuff like me, shots in the air are the best, I must say, and then you can try to do more close-up shots or it's just try and error, right? It's as simple as that. I'm not a professional video maker. For me it's only a hobby, and I try to do it the best way I can. I have a good opportunity to shoot from this angle the aircraft, of course. That's one of the advantages, I must admit, okay. But I've also worked for it to get here. It's not for free. So we have indeed an aircraft landing on 25 right, but it's not the LATAM. It's again a Transavia. Amazing. I see one aircraft of Beeline also ready to go on the move. So here we have the Transavia coming in. LATAM, it's going to the pre-cargo area in the back. Zoom in a little bit, we have Amerijet, he will depart today. We have a DHL, another aircraft, some DHL I see, and at the end we see a 737 of Cargo Air, I think, but he flies also for DHL. As it's today an holiday, there were not much movements of DHL today or tonight, but they will start to go back in business this evening for the rest of the week. Voila, we have 4 aircraft in view, why not? Sometimes I have 10 to 15 aircraft in view. Okay, I've had a small tip that the Tomorrowland aircraft is coming in on 25 right, perhaps that's something interesting to show too. That is the other Belgian icon that was not shown today in this video. I will try to go and find him. Voila, let's go, there it is. One of of the most beautiful designs, I guess, but not everybody is on the same line, of course. Some say it's a very ugly bird. It's not a bird, it's a mythic, it's something from Tomorrowland itself, of course. For me, it's always worth to look at it. And when the sun is shining low and the aircraft is passing, you can make amazing photographs of it. Touchdown. A little bit in. Against my micro. So yes, I used to take pictures, of course, for over 30 years. I sometimes did video stuff, but at that time my camera was not that good. The sharpness was really disappointing, but now it's digital 4K or even 6K, but I use 4K. Well, the results are amazing. I must say it as it is. When you can zoom in and post-process it a little bit to get the worst distortions away. It's always. It's too bad, of course, that I didn't start 30 years earlier. So I would give you a much more a variety of aircraft types. You saw here everything, even the Concorde came here. Antonov 124 came here, the Antonov 22 came here. All kind of military stuff. Galaxy. Galaxy is still flying around, of course, but the Antonov 22 not. That is gone. Voila. My colleague says he's going to dinner. This is one of probably the lost aircraft. I will show. It could be, my guess, the new aircraft that is recently delivered to Brussels Airlines. Sierra Foxtrot, Quebec. That is his tail number. I will check it out if it is the case. Yep, it is. Ex-Lufthansa aircraft is this. Sprayed in Châteauroux in the colors of Beeline, and then after a maintenance visit in Woensdrecht, it came back and is right now in service with Brussels Airlines since a week or so. The flight goes apparently to Dakar, another African destination of Beeline. And of course, big aircraft tend to give nicer results on camera than the smaller ones, so I'm going to start with that too. Brussels Airport is of course not that big to receive a lot of wide bodies. We have to do it what comes. It's not bad, it's not good, it's in between. But it's okay. It could be worse, I guess. So Brussels Airport is well known for its African connections. That is, I think, the hub they want it to be in the future. All other hub system things, well, I suppose we are not capable of competing with the 4 surrounding airports of us. One of the last aircraft, and then I will put an end on this a live view, a live show. Heading for Turkey. This one. An Airbus 321, a classic one. And with this image I will say goodbye to you all. I hope to see you again this year. I don't know when exactly. The weather, free time, a good colleague to help me a little bit. It all matters in this case to have a live show. Voilà, I wish you a nice holiday today. Starting from tomorrow afternoon or the day after tomorrow. I guess there is a little bit cloudiness on its way, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they promise to be very summer weather, so enjoy it as much as you can, I would say. Voilà, this is Stef. I will say bye-bye to you until the next time.